Okay, let's not forget.
Thank you, Roy.
Good
The
eye,
2nd
Roy.
of May, Rabbi Furst Pierke Avos.
Okay. So I guess then fortunate is the one, and it is good for you. Ashrecha ba'olam hazeh. So fortunate for you is in this world. V'tov lach li'olam haba. And what is good for you is in the world to come.
Right, it'll be good for you in the world to come. You'll be fortunate in this world, right? And it'll be good for you in the next world. Now we'll get to that. We'll have to get to that. We'll have to try and explain that in detail. What's the difference between being fortunate in Olam Hazeh and Toiv in Olam Haba? That we'll get to that hopefully. That'll be a very big principle which we're going to have to try and integrate into our psyches about what the whole purpose of Olam Hazeh is and what the whole purpose of Olam Haba is all about. But we'll get to, but we need a little work. We have to do a little work before we get to that. Okay, so now, without further ado, as they say, we'll go to the Maral Miprag. You see where we have you see the arrow in the middle of your screen if you're looking on this on the screen. That arrow that's moving around there.
Yep.
So that's focusing your attention there on Derech Hayim. That's the Maral Miprag. Make it even bigger. Is that getting good? You reading it, able to read that nicely, Roy? Is that good for you?
Yeah, I can see that.
You see it? Okay, very good. Okay, so the Maral, these first 5 lines, right, is a quote of the Mishnah, which we've just done. So we're not going to repeat that. So Kachi Derech Torah. Now we also did Rashi. Maral brings Rashi down. It's worthwhile. Let's just review the Rashi as the Maral quotes Rashi. So you can start with that there, and then we're going to go into the Maral's commentary on this Mishnah. Actually, it's a brisa. It's not really proper to call it a Mishnah. It's really a brisa. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay, so this is on the first. It's on Ashrecha ba'olam. Okay, it's on this quote from Tehillim. Okay, let's see. Rashi Zecher Livracha Piresh Lo Ha'ashir U'omer Sheyamod B'tzar Kidei Lilmod Torah.
So Rashi explains that this Mishnah is not this Maimer Chazal is not referring to, not speaking to a person who's an Osher, who's wealthy, who has means, and in order for him to learn Torah, he's going to have to reduce his diet to one of bread and water and salt and sleeping on the ground. That's not what we're talking about here, right? That, according to Rashi, that's not who this Bryce is addressed to. Rather, who's it addressed to? Ella, Hachi Ka'omer, so you shall say.
Okay, let's see. Ele Chachi Ka'amar Afilu Ein La'adam Ela Pat B'melech V'kulei. So it's only talking about, let's see.
I mean, it's talking about a person who he only has minimal substance. He only has bread and water to eat with some salt. He only has a place on the ground to sleep. Like Rabbi Akiva, you remember Rabbi Akiva, how he started out when he got married there? They used to sleep in the barn, in the haystack. Remember that, Roy? No? You don't remember that? Does anyone remember the story about Rabbi Akiva, how he started out when he married Rachel?
No, I'm sorry. I don't remember hearing that.
You don't remember that? The story of Rachel, he married Rachel. Rachel was the daughter of Kalba Savur, one of the richest was one of the richest men in Klal Yisrael at the time, right? And when he found out that his daughter went and married Rabbi Akiva, who was at that time unlearned, he swore, he vowed not to give them a penny of his great wealth. So they were so poor when they started out, they had nothing. They slept in a barn in a haystack.
Huh.
And in the morning, they would, since they didn't have anything, they didn't have a mirror, so they would have to pick out the straws from each other's hair in the morning. And they were a little bit concerned about their situation. So Kadosh Baruch Hu sent Eliyahu Navi in disguise as a poor person, and he came and he asked them if they had any hay. He didn't even have any hay. Eliyahu Navi came as a poor man and he was begging for hay. And they said to themselves, "Wow, look at that! We at least have hay. This poor person doesn't even have hay, and so we can at least give him some hay. We have something to give to him." And that was his humble beginnings. So here we're also talking about this. That we're talking, according to Rashi, we're talking about a person who has nothing to eat except bread and salt and a little water, and nothing to sleep on except the ground.
Mm.
Mm. So that's what this Mishnah is. This price is referring to according to Rashi's pshat. Okay, let's continue on.
Let's
So,
see.
so the point of that is that one shouldn't be striving for wealth, but if he has it, therefore he doesn't have to strive for it. There's no problem using it.
Oh, so there are different approaches to that. Again, right now we're learning with Rashi. We're learning with Rashi that Rashi says this statement is not referring to a person who has wealth. Now, it's telling a person who's poor that in spite of the fact that he's poor, that this is the way of Torah. You're going to have to, in spite of your poverty, you're going to have to devote yourself to Torah. And if you do, Ashrecha l'olam haba, l'olam hazeh, tov lach l'olam haba. Now, what is the requirement of a rich person, of a wealthy person, a person that has means? What's his requirement? So that, according to Rashi, we're not being taught. This mission is not revealing to us what his obligation is going to be, right? There'll be, according to some other meforshim, we'll be able to see what this may, in fact, be referring to a person who has wealth, and he's supposed to forego his wealth, right? But Rashi's not learning that way, right? Well, hopefully we can get to that, and we'll be able to determine what a person who has means, what's his obligation in terms of his means. We've seen. For example, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Seforno. Was it the Seforno? Seforno. Yeah, look at the Seforno. You see the Seforno here? You see the arrow there directing you at the top of your screen now? It should be Seforno.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so go ahead, Mary. You could read that. Kaki darker. So this is the way of Torah.
Okay, so he's here. Mishnei Devarim. Asher Haim al Harov Hamonim Ha'adam Me'osek B'Torah B'li Safek. Okay, so what? There are two things.
Yeah, there are two things you're being cautioned about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, how's here? Mishnei Devarim. There's a warning about two things.
Okay, let's see. Haim al Harov.
I mean, Hema Maro, meaning in general, in the majority of cases, Moni Madam Nosik B'Torah, they will prevent the person from being involved in Torah B'li Safek, without any doubt.
Oh, wow. Huh.
So
Oh,
this,
yeah.
so you see, the Seforno is referring, is he's learning this is referring to a person who has the means, and he's being warned about the fact that he has the means. You better watch out, because those what you think is a bracha, what you think is an advantage, that you have the means, that's going to be something which, without any doubt, in most cases, is going to prevent a person from being involved with Torah. Person has means, he has wealth. So what's he worried about? He's worried about where he's going to spend Pesach. He's planning to he's trying to figure out which hotel in Honolulu he's going to spend Pesach on. That's what he's worried about. Yeah. I can guarantee you, 3 weeks ago, people were worried about what hotel they were going to spend Pesach in Honolulu. I can guarantee you there were Jews in the world probably doing that exact thing. That was their concern. Their main concern was what hotel they're going to spend Pesach in Honolulu. And but they should know that preoccupation with their hotel in Honolulu is preventing them from learning Torah, which is going to be no vacation in Olam Haba. In Olam Haba, they're not going to have any vacation. They're going to be asked to give a din v'cheshbon. Tell us, why were you so concerned about your Honolulu vacation for Pesach and not concerned about learning the Torah you're supposed to learn? And he's going to have to come up with a good explanation. So according to the Sefarnu, this Bryce is speaking to a person who has the means, and he's being directed to be careful that if the derech of Torah is don't get involved with your wealth and your possessions and your preoccupation with how to spend your money. You should be preoccupied with how to spend your time in learning Torah. That's what your preoccupation should be. How am I going to spend time in the right way, doing the right things with learning Torah? That's how you're supposed to be spending your time. Figure out and learning the Torah, not how to spend your money. Okay, let's continue. So that's does that answer your question about what the rich person should do, Lou? To certainly, I'm just briefly answering it. Maybe we'll get to more detailed explanations as we go along, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm interested in more explanation. It's helpful, but doesn't completely answer or address my point about what you should do.
Right.
You talk about what you shouldn't do, but not what you should do.
Right. So we'll have to see if we'll have more explanations as we go further on. Okay. In the meantime, let's return now to the Maharal Mitrag. So again, he's quoted for us Rashi, right? Here you are, Rashi. There you are. Okay, so let's start again. Go ahead, man. Rashi Zal.
Okay, Rashi Zeichel Lebracha Piresh Lo al Ashir Hu Omer Sheyamod B'Tza'ar Yedei Lomod Torah Ella Hachi Kamor Afilu Ein LaAdam Ella Pat B'Melech. Okay, so what even when it hardly has anything to eat, is in his sort of distress or agony, still learns Torah.
I mean, you're right. I mean, the fact that he only has a little bit of bread to eat with salt and a little bit, that's not going to stop him. That's not going to stop him. He's obligated. He also is obligated to learn Torah.
Okay. The Lashon Kachi Darcha Shel Torah Sarich Iyun Demashma Kachi Darcha V'Kach Ra'oi. So Iyun is deep study or something.
Well, that's what Tzorich means. Tzorich means it requires Tzorich requires analysis.
Oh, requires analysis, right?
Right. So the Lashon, according to the Maral Miprag, he's quoting Rashi, and according to Rashi's explanation, it requires analysis. What does this phrase "kachi dark shel Torah"? What does that have to? How does that fit in context with the way Rashi is explaining the Brisa? That requires analysis. Kachi dark shel Torah.
Okay.
Why? And you say he starts you off. Why? What's the
Sorry, I left you, brother. Sorry.
the thing that has to be worked out here?
Okay, so Demashma kach hi darcha v'kach ra'oi. So what this is its path, its way.
It's because he says it's mashma in this expression kachi darcha shel Torah, that infers, the mashma infers kachi darcha. This is the way, kach roy, and this is what's fitting.
Yeah, come in.
Oh, and its meaning. Okay.
You take a look. You see the I'm pulling up a commentary note.
Oh yeah. I saw it for a minute.
Hold on, let me get that back there. Hold on. Let me get that here. Can you read that? It's a little bit smaller than the regular print.
Okay, so it says Piresh Lashon Habraita More Sheyesh Kan Haroeh Tamidit Lomod Torah Mitok Tzimtzum. Okay, so what the
Right, it's the expression, the phraseology of the Bryce is seems to indicate Sheish Kan Hora, there is a Hora, meaning there is a directive to medius, a continual directive in all circumstances, Vilmo Torah Metolchat Tzimtzum, to learn Torah within within strict boundaries of Gashmias.
oh.
Boundaries of Gashmias.
Okay, so let's see. Below Shadvarim Ne'emaru Lemi Shehu Ani.
And Velo Hadivarim Nemram Lemishu Ani. It's not speaking to a person who is a poor person. I mean, Kachi Darkish Torah. The expression, the phrase Kachi Darkish Torah. Such is the way of Torah. Doesn't seem to indicate it's referring to a specific instance of a poor person. It seems to be indicating that this is the general way for all people. Right, Roy? You following that point, Roy?
Sort of, because I went out and came in again. So I'll catch up. Keep going.
Again, like the expression that's used in the Bryce is Kachi Dark Shel Torah is indicating to us apparently that this is the way of Torah, meaning under all circumstances for all people. So Rashi's explanation that this Bryce is referring to a person who's an ani doesn't seem to fit in to that general expression Kachi Dark Shel Torah.
Okay. Let's see.
That's good. That's good. Okay. So yeah, I don't we'll leave the rest of the footnote for the time being.
Okay.
Now Avo. So now the Maral comes to explain.
Okay. Aval yireh sheratza lomar kach darcha shel Torah v'hu ma she'amru b'perech Rabbi Akiva. Oh. Okay.
But here it appears, Shiratz it means to say, meaning the Brisa means to say, when it says this expression, Kaki Darka Shel Torah, this is the way of Torah. Uma Shomer Beperek Rabbi Akiva. This is what it's corresponding to what's being taught in the Gemara and Shabbos, Pei Gimel Amud Beis, and that's in the Perek Rabbi Akiva.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Just a minute. I've got lost, I'm sorry. The expression kachi, whatever, means what?
Kachi
Again,
Darkish Torah,
yeah,
right?
means,
In English, it means such is the way of Torah, right?
right, okay, fine.
That seems to, according to the Maharal's questions here, that is an expression which is a general expression referring to all people under all circumstances. Not like Rashi, who's explaining this brisa to mean it's referring to only a person who's in a state of poverty.
Hmm.
So
And
you're saying that according to Rabbi Akiva, it's that expression is for poor people.
well, that according to Rashi, the brisa is referring to, right, person who is of meager means. He's a poor person.
So he has to take this is the way of the Torah. This is how you're meant to be at this
I
stage.
mean, don't think that because you only have a little bit of bread and a little bit of salt, and you have to have only a little bit of specific water, and you're speaking on the ground. Don't think that you're not supposed to learn Torah. No, this is the way of Torah, even under these circumstances. This is the way of Torah.
Right.
Now, but that the morale is objecting to, because the expression "kachi darkest Torah" seems to indicate a general directive for all people, whether they be rich or poor. And he's therefore now saying his own explanation based on the Gemara in Shabbos, and that's based in the Maharal says it's in Perek Rabbi Akiva, because at the time of the Maharal, you should know, at the time of the Maharal, that was before the standard Shas was printed, that we have this manazeh, that they had specific daf, for example, daf Pei Gimel. That's why it's in parentheses over here. It's in Shabbos daf Pei Gimel, because that was put in later by the printers here.
If that's to do with the general people, then that means general circumstances,
Correct. That's right.
which means that from that's the way of the poor person, that's the way of the rich person, that's the way of the intermediate person, that's the
Correct.
way of whatever.
That's right.
So whatever it is, it is.
Correct.
Mhm. So what does Rabbi Akiva say for the rich person?
Oh well, so I mean, we're not quoting Rabbi Akiva here. This is a brisa, but it's a reference. The Maharal is referencing us to the Perek, which is known the chapter of Mishnayos in the Masechet Shabbos, which is known as Perek Rabbi Akiva, because that was his.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's his name to him. Yeah. So what does it mean? I'm a Reish Lakish, but this is a mimer of Reish Lakish. Go ahead, man. Reish Lakish is going to teach us something about this now.
Okay, Amar Reish Lakish, Eina Torah mikayemet ela b'mei shemamit atmo aleha she'amar from Bamidbar v'zot haTorah adam ki yamot. Or yamut maybe. Ad kan l'shono.
Oh, so this corresponds, according to the Maharal, our statement here in Avos is a complementary statement to that teaching of Reish Lakish, that Eina Torah Miskayem, is Torah is not going to endure, except Ella mi Shemeismis Atzmola, except for a person who kills himself over it. Now we have to understand what that means. What doesn't mean a person kills himself over Torah, but in any event, we're starting out now. We're going to get to understand this a little bit more in detail.
No,
The Nemar,
okay.
and he brings a pasuk. There's a pasuk to prove that, right?
Okay, so let's see. where's the the sofa? Chamori bein tzekel. Okay, hold the chamori. Okay, goof chamori. Okay, bein safek ki hasechel v'haguf hapachim mit mit nagdim. Oh, ze et ze. ולכך אין אל התורה קיום בגוף החמרי. Okay, so there's no doubt.
Right,
It's a
right,
suffix.
right, but it says here, Perish Kat. This is the explanation of this statement of Rish Lakish. Ki Torah is sickness. The Torah is something which is based upon intelligence, right? Torah is something which is in the realm of intelligence. V'adam ba'al guf hamri. And a person is a ba'al guf. He happens to be a physical being. Person happens to be, so Torah is something which is sickly, something which is in the realm of intelligence. And a person, he's something which is in the realm of a physical being. Go ahead.
Okay.
The ain't suffix. There's no doubt. There's no doubt that since the intelligence and the physical body are opposites, they are in opposition one to the other.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not following that. Why is that?
Why is that? Because the physical body is in diametric opposition to the intelligence of a person.
The physical body is what do you call it? Oh, I've forgotten what I was going to say. The physical body is earthly. It's palpable. It's something that's that you can feel and see and touch and describe and whatever, and affect yourself and affect other people. Intelligence is sort of in your head. It's not you can't see intelligence. You can't hold it in your hand or anything like that. And it has, therefore it's got different ways of seeing, so to speak, the world around you. And your physical being has another way of seeing the world around you.
Oh, exactly. As if you don't mind me paraphrasing what you mean, the physical body and the mental intelligence have two different agendas. Correct, Roy?
Yeah, okay.
But wait a second. The intelligence is our way of relating to the physical world.
That's wrong. That's wrong. That's the whole point. That's wrong. The intelligence is our way of relating to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And what happens is our intelligence is used to relate to the physical world instead of relating to a Kadosh Baruch Hu.
And that's a problem.
That's a very big problem. That's a very big problem. After all, if you want to relate to the physical world, so a cow I think a cow relates to the physical world pretty well, right? Cow is sitting there and munching on the grass day in and day out, swatting the flies over its back with its tail, right? Yeah, it's doing a pretty good job of being relating to the physical world, but it has very little intelligence because that's all it needs to do is just relate to the physical world.
But what about a doctor who's using his intelligence to understand the workings of the body and to heal a sick person?
No, he's not. He's using his knowledge.
What?
He's using his knowledge.
But
He knows.
he
He knows
gains, he
exactly
gains the
exactly.
knowledge. He gains the knowledge through his intelligence. He figures things out.
Right? He's no better than the cow swatting the flies off its back.
I don't get that.
It's just more sophisticated, but simply the doctor is simply swatting the flies off his back or other people's back. But he's no more, it's just more sophisticated than the cow swatting the flies off his back, just relating to Olam Hazeh.
Okay. Why does that take him away from God?
Well, because first of all, that might be what the Chazal say. The Chazal say the best of doctors go to hell.
Because they can become arrogant.
That's one shot. I mean, there's other explanations for that as well. But the point we're discussing now is that the physical body has one agenda to relate to the physical world, and the intelligence has a different agenda that it's to relate to Kadosh Baruch Hu. And if the physical body gains control over the mental intelligence and forces the mental intelligence to relate to Olam, to the physical world, Olam Hazeh, then the purpose of intelligence has been corrupted. That's what the previous Mishnah said, right? The previous Mishnah said that it's a gold ring in the nose of a swine. You know that Mishnah?
No,
No?
I'm looking, I'm paging back to see if I can see what that says.
What's it say?
It says that, let me see if I can't find it for you. Hold on. Let's.
I didn't.
Sorry, I'm looking at the previous mission. I don't see it. I don't see what you're referring to.
Hold on. We will get there. We will get there. We will get there. We will get there. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Here it is. Space. Look at the top of your page. Who wants to want to read that? There?
Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, B'chol yom vayom bat kol yotzet mehar chorev umachrezet v'omeret olahem labriot me'elbona shel Torah. So shekol mi she'eino osek b'Torah nikra nazuf shene'amar. Oh, here it is. Nezem zahav be'af chazir isha yafa v'sarat tam. Oh, it's from Mishlei.
Yeah, that's right. That's possibly Mishnah, correct.
Oh.
So the person who's not Oisik in Torah and is therefore says if he's not Oisik in Torah, so he's using his intelligence for other things. So the use of intelligence for anything else except Torah is like a gold ring in the nose of a swan.
Ah. Okay, should go on then. Let's see.
Yeah, so that's what we're about to bring this back to where we were.
Oh, okay.
Oops. 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 There we are.
Right.
Right, here we are. You're standing there, right?
Okay, so let's see. Group hofchim. Let's see. מתנגדים זה את זה, ולפיכך אין אל התורה קיום בגוף החומרי.
Therefore, since the physical and the seichel, since kufa seichel are opposites one to the other, ein ala Torah kiyum b'guf ha'chomri. The Torah cannot exist in a physical body. Torah cannot exist in a physical body.
Ah,
So how come it's existing in a scroll?
Excuse me?
How come the Torah is existing in a scroll? What do you mean by existing? It's in a, you know, we hold up the scroll of the Torah. And
Right.
you know what I mean? I say, what does it mean? Can't exist in a physical body.
First of all, you're right. You have to realize this is one of the great miracles. This is one of the great miracles of Matan Torah. When you're now in the 8th day of the Omer, right? That means in 42 days, we're gonna have the Hagashur, right? The Zman, Matan Torah Seinu, the time, the day which we commemorate the giving of the Torah to Klal Yisrael, the acceptance of the Torah by Klal Yisrael, right? And the acceptance of the Torah by Klal Yisrael was a momentous historical event by which the whole of the creation was dependent upon. And basically what was occurring then and there was the physical manifestation of the Ratzon of Hashem, meaning HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will, the will of the creator existence was now being brought into a physical manifestation to be entrusted to Klal Yisrael to guard over it and to fulfill it. Right? That's one of the momentous physical miracles that took place at the time of Matan Torah. The fact that the luchos, the stones that Moshe Rabbeinu brought down with him from Har Sinai, right? That those stones had engraved upon them the will of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the physical manifestation of the Kadosh Baruch Hu's will. That was one of the greatest miracles that ever took place in the history of mankind. You follow, Ron? It makes sense to you?
Yes, so far. Right.
Right. So now that's in terms of the Torah being written in the luchos, in the tablets, the Torah being written in a Sefer Torah. But now, let's say you want the Torah to be miskayim, you want the Torah to endure in the physical body of the person. So that's a whole another level of existence, right? There's ein el Torah kiyum b'guf ha'chomri. The Torah will not be enduring in a physical body, in a physical entity. Okay. Shane, go ahead, man.
let's see. So she'eni yeh el haTorah shehi seichel kiyum beguf chamri kevan shehem hafchim ve'ein amidah.
The
whoops.
opposite. Right. Right.
Okay.
In a seichel, shehi seichel kiyum begufo chamri. Right. So in a Torah, yet el Torah, she seichel. It can't be that the Torah, which is seichel, intelligence, kiyum begufo chamri, cannot endure in a physical entity. Ki heim hofkin, because they're opposites.
So it can't endure. Okay. Okay, Vienna, let's see. So, Kivan, they're opposites. Ve'ein amida asher heim hachofchim yachad. That's what you just said. They can't stand together because they're opposites. But hachofchim yachad, they're opposites, not together.
Right. You can't have, right? Ein amida el asher heim hafkim yachad. As Abraham Lincoln put it. Remember, boy, you remember Abraham Lincoln?
Vaguely. Yes.
Well, he said a house divided against itself cannot stand. Remember that, man?
Yeah.
When was the last time you heard that expression?
Just
So
now.
long-
When I was in 10th grade,
a long time ago.
A long time ago. Well, the Maharal Miprag Lahavdil said it a long time before Abraham Lincoln.
Right. Wow.
You can't have two opposites exist side by side.
Okay.
and yet we have Torah scholars who are very intelligent.
No, I mean the intelligence is one thing. That's not the intelligence. There's a what you call the koyach of intelligence, all the various different facilities of the mind, imagination, memory, right, all of the things, whatever it might be, right, quickness of thought, depth of thought, abundance of thought, all these various different things at the facilities of the mind, right? But that's simply intelligence is just a tool by which to deal with whatever's being processed. Yeah, whatever's being processed. Yeah. They said l'chach, therefore.
Okay, lekach amar she'ena Torah mitkayemet rak im mimit atzmo al haTorah.
Therefore, this is I continue. This is really based on the whole explanation of Reish Lakich's statement. Therefore, ein Torah miskayim is rak memes atzmo haTorah. Therefore, Torah cannot endure except in a person who memes atzmo al Torah, that literally kills himself over the Torah. We'll have to understand what that means. But the words, these are the words. The words are, Torah is only going to endure in a person who kills himself over the Torah. Now, again, we need to understand what that means.
Let me ask you a question, a practical question.
Yeah, go ahead.
When my son was in high school, he wanted to learn calculus. And he was in a yeshiva type environment where they didn't put a lot of time into secular studies. So he asked me to teach him. So I got a calculus book and I read it when I was in the bathroom. And that was enough review because, I had taken calculus in college that, I could then go through with him, teaching him what was in the book. Is that something that this is telling us I shouldn't have done?
No, it's not going into the question of secular knowledge. That's not the point here. That's a different issue. That's a different issue of involving Pitul Torah and devoting time to things which are not relevant to the Torah studies which you have to master. I don't think anyone's going to get to the Beis Din Shomayla after 120 years, and the high court above is going to ask them, how come you didn't learn calculus?
I think I've got an answer to the question I asked you before, which was the Torah is written down on a parchment. So so it's how can that be? That what is written down on the parchment is not the actual Torah. The actual Torah is metaphysical. It can't be written down. It can't be captured like that. What is written on the parchment is our reminder of what the Torah is our instructions of the Torah, which makes it very, very holy, of course. But the actual Torah itself, its very, very essence and all that, is not on that parchment. It's way, 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 way above that. In a world that we can't grasp.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, what we have as the written Torah, so that's simply a form by which we're able to relate to the Torah itself, which, as you said, it's true, is much greater and much more profound in what we can ever really imagine.
So I'm trying to. The reason I brought up that example was not to raise the issue of secular knowledge. It was to try and find an example where a person uses his seichel and ask if there's something wrong with that. Is there some? I mean, what are we saying here when we say that the seichel and the goof are diametrically opposed? Are we saying that if somebody uses his seichel, he's somehow damaging himself vis-a-vis the Torah?
No, that's that's not the point here. I don't think that's the point to be raised. The point is, in essence, you have to understand the essence of Torah is something it's something rooted in seichel, and you have to understand that the physical body is something which is rooted in the lower aspects of physical existence. So the seichel, the Torah is coming from seichel, which is part of the higher spiritual states of existence, and the physical body is existing and is rooted in the lower physical states. So it's not a trade-off. It's simply that you have to realize that the two things are diametrically opposed. As I said at the very beginning, they have different agendas. The agenda of the intelligence is different than the agenda of the physical body, right? That,
So the agenda of intelligence is to come closer to Hashem, you said earlier.
right, exactly.
If I use my intelligence to understand calculus, And I feel that I see Hashem in calculus. I see the beauty of mathematics, the infinite nature of mathematics, as an expression of Hashem's greatness. Is that consistent with the idea that I'm using the seichel to come closer to Hashem?
Well, I mean, let me put it this way. You know, if a person wanted to get from New York to London, right?
Yeah.
So you would give him an advice: get yourself on a plane, right?
Right.
If you told him get yourself on a canoe, right? So he might get from New York to London after a little bit of time and effort, but that's not the optimal way of getting from New York to London.
Right.
That would be silly.
Yeah. So likewise, to try and get close to the core of calculus, it would be as Wood put it, would be silly.
So
You
your
have Torah.
calculus
Torah.
is like the canoe in this case.
Yeah, right. You have the Torah. The Torah is the direct, most effective way to get close to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? So why try and do it any other way? You wouldn't want to try and go to London from New York any other way than an airplane. You might want to take a boat if you want to, if you have a couple extra weeks and want to enjoy getting seasick along the way. Right?
That would be me.
But,
Yeah.
What
but
a
if you want to go
cynic.
from New York, remember they used to have the SST. Remember that, Mayor? The SST.
Mm,
People wanted to get from London to New York. They wanted to do a New York to London. They wanted to get there quick. They didn't want to
right.
waste.
Didn't last long though.
But
All right.
yeah, I mean, look again. If you have let me put it this way. There's a Maimer Chazal. If someone will come and tell you Chachma B'goyim, that the non-Jews have wisdom, Tamim, you should believe them. If they say Torah B'goyim, if someone should tell you that they have Torah, right, amongst the nations, amongst the Goyim, Al Kamim, don't believe them. So you see, if someone comes and tells you that the Goyim have wisdom, so you're supposed to believe him. It's true, the Goyim have wisdom. They have calculus, right, engineering, right? They build bridges, they go to the moon, and if they're lucky, they come back also. They have all these things. But that wisdom is a wisdom that is simply rooted in Olam Hazeh. It's simply for the fulfillment of what their needs are in Olam Hazeh. You can say the same thing about birds. Birds, if you look at birds build nests, right? Beavers build dams. Spiders build spider web. I've mentioned this before, not recently, but I've mentioned this before. If you look at a spider web, like, Mayor, tell me, for a spider to build a spider web, how many years in engineering school do you think a spider would have to go to build a spider web?
Mm,
Right? So Hashem saves the spider web all the trouble of going to college, right? And getting a degree in engineering. And Hashem programs the spider, right, with its innate knowledge of how to build a spider web. Right? So people also, they have to farm, they have to transport, they have to do all the various different things to make their lives, to get food on their table. Basically, it's all basically just to get food on their table, right? What's the spider web all about? To catch flies, right? To get food on his table. right? What's calculus all about? What's engineering all about? It's to get food on their table. That's all, basically. So Kadosh Baruch Hu programs even the goyim, the non-Jews, the nations of the world are programmed to put food on their table. He gives humans innate wisdom to be able to put food on the table, whether it's more sophisticated or less sophisticated. That's simply a question of how and where and what you want to do with it. But it's simply it's just a bunch of sophisticated table setting, right? That's all. So that chokmah Kadosh Baruch Hu gives to them, but that's not Torah. Torah is getting yourself closer to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, understanding the will of the creator of the universe, fulfilling his will, and believing in him, and living a life accordingly. That's what Torah is all about. So they don't have that. The Goyim don't have that. They don't have any relationship to getting closer to Kadosh Baruch Hu. That we've been given Torah, and that's what we have. That's what our intelligence is supposed to be devoted to. Anyway, I mean, there may be some more questions left over, but I think we've gone over our time a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Apologize to Rabbi Levitt if he's waiting for us to be the start. And if there's any, well, let's see, tomorrow's Erev Shabbos. Tomorrow's Erev Shabbos. So 9:30, we'll do something with Chumash Bli Neder. And if there are any questions left, or we're in the middle of this, Maharal Prague, we're in the middle. Any questions that we want to resume with at the beginning of this year on Yom Rishon, so either write them down so we don't forget the questions, or you could send me an email with the question if you want. Whatever we can do to try and clarify these points, we'll try our best.
Thank you very much.
Okay, very good. Have a good Shabbos, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Great day.
Oh.